Well, this is it, the final race in the 1998 Shell Series. Can Russell Ingall do it? Mathematically, it is still possible. As we take a look at the points after the first two races of today, and these are, of course, the overall championship points. Craig Lowndes leads on 9.52 from Russell Ingall. That gap has been extended considerably. Mark Scafe has got a pretty good stranglehold on third. He's overtaken Larry Perkins, and Glenn Seaton sits comfortably in fifth. John Bowe has dropped out of contention there as we have a look at the grid, and of course these are the finishing positions from race two. It's Lowndes and Scafe again, Bargwanna and Longhurst on row two.
Glenn Seaton moving up the order, Garth Tander in there too, Mark Larkham in the Mitre 10 Falcon, and Paul Romano.
Back to Russell Ingall in ninth. He's got some work to do, I tell you. John Bowe, Steve Ellery, a good result for Stephen there, just ahead of, I think it was Mazira.
Larry Perkins, Alan Jones, John Faulkner and Terry Finnegan in the Sony Auto Sound car.
Pate, Johnson, Dick that is, Ashby and Smurden.
Rod Nash, Paul Wheel, John Cotter and Mick Donoghue in the Altitude car.
We keep on going. 25 is Simon Emmazides, Mike Conway, Anthony Tratt and Danny Osborne.
A bit further back, Neil Crompton, he got caught in someone else's accident in that second heat, took him out very early. That's put him right down the order. Jason Bright recovering, that car's fixed, he'll be back in action too. And Stephen Johnson had a broken rocker in his engine on the warm-up lap. He takes the grid as well for heat 3.
Well, this is the situation. Craig Lowndes must finish worse than 18th and Ingall must win. Green at the back, we're getting ready for green at the front. Set, this is the final race in the 98 Shell Series. Ready for a start, away we go. Can Lowndes make it 3 from 3? And look at Bargwanna. He gets away to a great start. Ingall's forcing his way through on the inside. Look to the right-hand side of your screen. There's Russell Ingall. But it's the two Mobil 1 HRT cars that hit the corner first. It's Lowndes, followed by Scafe. Through goes Bargwanna and Longhurst the outside.
Just showing the advantage of starting off the front row, isn't it? They were able to squeeze together. No one had an opportunity to pass in those first few hundred metres off the start line. So it's a Holden Racing Team 1-2 once again as they head down under the bridge to Shell Corner.
Yeah, it's going to be close there. Great start from Bargwanna. Look, and Longhurst having it. Oh, dear me.
Faulkner.
Problem there.
Yeah, have a look at this. Longhurst on the inside of Bargwanna. Ingall has got the outside run there. He's going to get squeezed because Romano's got the inside line, the better line through there. Up and over the Dunlop Bridge they go. This is very fast and frantic. They settle themselves down now, though. 1, 2, 3. Ingall's in about 6th or 7th at the moment.
Just expect Ingall to throw everything out the window here. This is the last heat. He was even quoted before the meeting as saying, well, it's either win or crash, so he's going to be throwing caution to the wind here. He's got a few cars ahead of him. Bit of damage there to Larry Perkins, Castrol Commodore.
Well, we've said it about 3 times. He's got nothing to lose. He definitely hasn't now. I mean, it's an uphill struggle. He has to win the race, and Craig Lowndes doesn't have to finish in.
He's got to finish worse than 18.
Yeah. I think it's all over Red Rover, isn't it? But we should get some fun and games out of Russell.
Well, he's got to get past Seaton here. He's got to do it quick, and he's got to start to make his moves forward and hope for some misfortune to Lowndes. But I tell you what, Lowndes has looked nothing but rock solid today, that's for sure.
Right, the old sun getting low now. Difficult for the drivers out of that left-hander after the start and finish straight.
Yeah, shadows stretching as the afternoon winds down, but Russell Ingall's not winding down. He's on maximum attack as he tries to make up as many positions as he can and hopes that Craig Lowndes falls into trouble. It's the only way he's going to win this championship.
Well, he's sitting there in 6th position. He's not that far behind the actual leaders, but I tell you what, he's got some cars to get through. It's Lowndes, Scafe, Longhurst, Bargwanna, Seaton, Ingall, then Romano, Perkins in 8th, Bowers up into 9th, and Garth Tander rounding out the top 10. Here's your race leader, Craig Lowndes. He's going for a clean sweep today, and I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic effort if he can finish in that style. 3 starts, 3 wins, and of course he started from pole position to take out this year's championship. That'll be a great way to do it.
Look at Tony Longhurst sitting in there in 3rd position. It's fantastic. We've been saying it all day, but it is a huge relief for people around the V8 supercar category. Tony's been hanging in there for years with an uncompetitive tyre package. He's finally got the rubber he needs, and he is proving the competitiveness of this Castrol Ford. Tremendous result for Tony Longhurst. Must be a huge relief to the Queenslander.
It's going to be really interesting to see what Tony Longhurst does on the press day at Bathurst on Tuesday, because I would have to say, the way he went last year, he's going to be a major threat. He's going to be one of the main men at Bathurst.
It's going to be an interesting day on Tuesday to see how the cars take to the track. They're all excited about it. I'll tell you someone else who we haven't given much of a rap to today is 2nd spot Mark Scafe. He's been going really well, very steady, and he has consolidated that 3rd spot in the championship.
Well, he has had the Greg Murphy hex, hasn't he? Like he took over from Greg Murphy in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship this year, and he's had just about the same amount of bad luck. That engine failure at Hidden Valley just really capped what has been a pretty bad season for him. But everything coming together here at Oran Park, he's doing a great job defending his championship contender.
They're starting to spread out in the top 5, the top half dozen even. Here's Jason Bargwanna from 10th to 3rd in race 2, a terrific effort. Now he sits steady there in 4th, looking back in the back of Bargwanna's car. There is Glenn Seaton, and then just behind him is Russell Ingall, who, well, you've got to give him credit. He is not giving in, but he's certainly facing an uphill battle from here.
You look at the top 10, the whole of the top 10 are lapping in the 1.9s or the 1.8s. I mean, that's pretty quick. John Bowers almost into the 1.8s.
The interesting thing there, Baz, if you look behind that leading 3, they've all slipped up to the 1 minute 9 second bracket. The only man who's staying with the Mobile 1 Commodores is Tony Longhurst, so he's doing an absolutely fabulous job in the Castrol Ford. Here's Jason Bargwanna, he's in 4th position, about 2.6 seconds behind our race leader, so it's a pretty tight gaggle at the front.
Finished 2nd at Calder and 2nd at Hidden Valley. He is really coming on strong, this guy. Now, Larry Perkins has worked his way up ahead of Paul, no, the other way around. Well, Larry hasn't got past Romano. Romano's got past Russell Ingall. That's certainly what Ingall didn't need at this stage of the day. He will keep soldiering on, but he's lost a position, so Ingall is now back in 7th position. The man who he's been fighting all year long for this championship, Craig Lowndes, is just cruising out in front.
Well, it really was a difficult day for Russell on known Bridgestone territory. He just didn't have the tyre package to make the car competitive this weekend, and he suffered today. And that's how championships are won or lost. Bit of a shame. That's the way the regulations stand at the moment.
Just think about the Mobil 1 HRT fans, and they'll be going bananas when Lowndes comes across the line, so long as everything stays as it is at the moment. And I mean, two years in V8 supercar racing and 2 championships under your belt, you can't ask for any more than that.
Well, it's very important to him after that disastrous season in Formula 3000 in Europe. There was an enormous amount of media pressure, an enormous amount of public expectation on his performance over there. He really had it stacked against him. I think he was pretty unfairly treated in the circumstances. So it was very important to him to come back and gather up that momentum and prove that he's still a winner, and he certainly proved it in 1998.
Plus the fact he was based in Austria, which is probably one of the most difficult countries to be based in. Had he have been based in the UK, that's very similar to Australia. Anyway, he's come back from it, and if you have a bad time like that, you really do appreciate the good times.
Some good runs just outside of the top 10. Stephen Ellery is doing well. He's sitting there in 12th position, and Alan Jones in the Komatsu Ford. Just behind this group, there they are there. Larkham is sitting in 11th. Then we go back to Ellery in 12th position, and Alan Jones sitting 13th, just ahead of Dick Johnson in 14th position, and John Faulkner rounding out the top 15. Crompton's done a good job to work his way through from the back. He's sitting there in 16th position.
That's really turned the order around, and we take Dunlop onboard camera up the inside.
Garth Tander on
Garth
Bow.
Tander, yep, great attack. He was sniffing around the back bumper of John Bow's car for a few laps, but Bow coming back on the inside. Tander really shown a lot of speed today.
And a lot of maturity. I mean, he's really kept the whole thing together, hasn't he?
Well, the car hasn't got any scratches or dents or dings on it, so he's been keeping his nose clean as well.
Yeah, but just think of what happened at Hidden Valley when he got tangled up there. He copped he lost his points from race 2, I think it was, and he copped a $4,000 fine. So there's no reason. That's the reason why he's kept his nose clean today.
Yeah, keeps your memory fresh, that sort of thing.
Certainly does.
Sharpens up your reflexes, Baz. So Lowndes just maintaining, once again, carbon copy of Heat 2. About a 4/10 of a second, half a second gap over his teammate Scafe. Longhurst sitting in just under 2 seconds behind Lowndes. So positions remaining fairly static. Seems to be symptomatic of Oran Park. It's a very fast flowing circuit. You quite often get this situation where the drivers, the cars sit in set positions.
Well, while we're giving some praise to young Garth Tander, the big test is to come, and we're talking about the Australian 1000 Classic at Bathurst, because all this Sprint Series stuff is good, but that's where you really get put to the test on the mountain. Now, it's still yet to be decided whether he'll be teaming up with Jim Richards or Cameron McLean. They are the 2 drivers that will join the Gary Rogers team, whether it's Jimmy Richards and Bargwanna or whether it's Richards and Tander. That's still to be decided. Here's Crompton. There's no doubt about where he's going. He's teaming up with last year's Shell V8 Supercar champion, Glenn Seaton.
He's really on a charge too, Lee.
Yeah.
I think he started right off the back after the drama in Heat 2. He's up to 15th position. So he's really having a flyer in this final heat.
Weaving his way through the field and enjoying it too. He's right up on the back of Alan Jones. who is turned right on the back of John Faulkner. Here comes Crompton, straight up the inside of Alan Jones on the main straight. Looks across at AJ. Down he comes.
I'm sure this is going to keep the Ford Credit Ben Seaton Racing team a lot happier. They've slowly climbing their way back toward competitiveness. Glenn has really struggled this year when they've gone to this new 1998 specification Bridgestone tyre. They've had real dramas trying to get heat into the front tyres, and they've really had to do a lot of research, shock absorber, and chassis settings, and it looks like they're finally heading in the right direction. That's a good sign when you're heading toward the endurance races.
Well, it's been although it hasn't been a full-time year for Neil Crompton in a V8, the smile on his face has never been bigger after he raced in the North American Touring Car Championship last year. To come back to Australia and step in a V8 and a competitive V8, he's been very, very happy with himself. Lap 8 of 18. There is not too much longer to go, and Barry Sheen, this guy's going to do it.
Well, it's so good because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, as a young kid, you know, he came in, he won the series in his first year. But if there was ever any doubt in anyone's mind, it's completely erased now. He had a terrible year in Europe, and he's come back, and it's so good for him to win. And at the end of the day, he's such a nice kid now. I mean, he's still young and still excellent.
And Barry, what I find so impressive, I find if he goes on and wins the championship today, I find this win far more impressive than 1996. Because if you remember back then, Holden Racing Team had an enormous advantage in terms of the equipment they were using. And a lot of people were saying, well, with those cars, like a monkey could have won it. But this year, it's so much more competitive in terms of the tyre rules, in terms of the competitiveness of his competition. So to win under those circumstances, I find far more impressive.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right. But mind you, the HRT lot still very, very switched on. And you have to say, if only they would get a control tyre in this series, it would make a lot of difference.
Well, fingers crossed. Let's hope that happens as we get ready to celebrate Craig Lowndes' second Shell V8 Supercar Championship. That'll be on the other side of this break because he leads this one convincingly. We'll be back with more on Network 10 right after this. You're watching race 3, the third and final race, the final round on grand final day here at Oran Park in Sydney. And this is Mobil 1 HRT's Craig Lowndes. He started from pole, he celebrated Holden's 100th pole position. He won the first race, he won the second race, and here he is. He's got a nice hold, a stranglehold in fact, on the third race. His teammate Mark Scafe is sitting in behind him enjoying, and he will enjoy 3 seconds so long as things remain the same, and he'll end up finishing third in the championship. We're on lap 12 of 18. This is the shot from the back of John Bowes' car. Coming onto the main straight, the Mitre 10 Ford of Mark Larkham, who's been running pretty steady today, in and out of the top 10. Good run by Larkham and a good warm-up with the Enduros coming up. Of course, he finished third. Teamed up with Andrew Badicki last year in the Primus 1000 Classic, and this year he's teaming up with Brad Jones. It'll be an interesting combination. Should be a very successful one.
Yeah, first time I've seen Bradley in a Ford at Mount Panorama. battle for 10th position continuing between John Bell, Mark Larkin. Look behind there, Neil Crompton's continuing his surge toward the front. Started off the back of the grid, he's now up to challenging for 11th position.
Glenn Seaton's managed to squeeze his way past Tony Longhurst, so too has Paul Romano. Have a look at this bunch here. This is good stuff. Crompton at the back of this pack. Larkin right on Bow's hammer. Just in front is Larry Perkins and Garth Tander sitting in 8th spot. There they go through now. Alan Jones has just come out of the pits by the looks of things, because Crompton overtook AJ not that long ago.
So the order now, Lowndes, Scafe maintaining that 1 second, half a second cushion behind his teammate Barguana in 3rd, Seaton in 4th, Romano 5th, Longhurst hanging on in 6th with Engel just behind him, Tander, Perkins, and this is the battle for 10th between Bow, Mark Larkham and Neil Crompton in the second of the Ford Credit Falcons.
If you're a Ford fan, this is heaven here. You got 3 of them in a row. Bow, Larkham, Crompton.
Except at the wrong end of the field.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say. No, they prefer him at the front, though, wouldn't they?
Well, a lot of expectation when the new AU Ford comes on stream next year. The car's going to get its public launch in September. Hoping to see one of the cars currently under construction by the race teams make a few demonstration laps at the Australian 1000 Classic at Mount Panorama in November. And then Ford comes on full stream with the new car next year. Should be a beauty.
Now, we've been talking lots about Neil Crompton making his way from the back of the field up in just outside the top 10, and he makes a move on Mark Larkham. Can't quite do it that time. Another Ford driver who's been going terrific, or 2 of them in fact, Stephen Johnson and Jason Bright. They have come from right at the back of the pack into 15th and 16th position respectively. Now Crompton's got a battle on his hands here. Faulkner is all over the back of him.
Yeah, really applying some pressure behind this trio of Fords. John Faulkner, he's currently running back there in 13th position. So great battle just outside the top 10. 5 laps remaining for our race leader, Craig Lowndes. Check out the Bridgestone driver profile at the bottom of your screen. And there's the Konica Commodore 2, Stephen Ellery in the Young Lions car.
Well, I think that's very encouraging for Steve. He's done well today, had a good run. He was going very well at Hidden Valley and Darwin the last round too until he got offload. Went into the tyre wall, wasn't his fault. Oh, Larkham starts to light it up a bit and get pretty sideways. He sits in 11th position at the moment in the number 10 Mitre 10 Ford.
It's been a turnaround for the Stone Brothers Ford team, hasn't it? Like early in qualifying and in unofficial practice, these cars are really quick, both the Mitre 10 car and its sister car, the Pertec Ford of Jason Bright. And as the days worn on, you can see Brighty got caught up in that accident in the first corner. Mark here running around at the tail of the top 10. He's come on very strong toward the end of the season, hasn't he, when you look back at his performances at Hidden Valley?
Well, I think go back further than that, Marco. Look at last year compared to this year. I mean, all those crashes and stuff that he was involved in for years on end, this year has been a relatively smooth run for him. It's been very good, and I know he's very excited about the Enduros, the Tickford 500 and the Australian 1000 Classic as well. He's keen to get up there on Tuesday and have a run around the Mount Panorama circuit.
So am I.
Yeah, definitely.
Should be a great day. The Australian 1000 Classic Media Day on Tuesday. So anyone who can get to the track, get up there. Should be a great day's entertainment.
You teed up a ride in a car?
No, thank you very much. No, far too sensible. So who are you going round with then, you 2 heroes?
I'm going around with Steve Reed and Jason Bright.
Right. And you, Mark?
Don't know yet, Baz.
I should be there.
It's a surprise.
I should be there.
You can clean our suits when it's all over.
Exactly.
Here's Jason Barguana in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. He sits in 3rd at the moment. It's been a pretty consistent day for him. Had to fight back. He didn't qualify all that well. No disrespect, but he was out of the top 10. Here's Paul Romano soldiering on. Now Romano's done well. He's sitting in 5th position. We've got just 3 laps to go here on Grand Final Day, and it's all over. And it's very much a Mobil 1 HRT day and championship, that's for sure.
Paul Romano running all year without sponsorship on the car. It's a real old nail, this car. This is actually the ex-Tony Longhurst Benson & Hedges car. He debuted back in Bathurst in 1994. It's been upgraded to VR, then VS specification.
I tell you what, he's catching Seaton pretty quickly.
But it's proving, isn't it, Baz, that age shall not weary them. The car's still very quick in Paul's hands.
I was just thinking, I bet the engineer and mechanics would really like to hear that. So it's a right old nail, this thing.
Now here's an interesting thing. Trevor Ashby driving the Lansvale Smash Repairs ICI Auto Colour car. Little mouthful that one, isn't it? Shares it with Steve Reed. throughout the year, his business partner in the smash repair business, and they've been so consistent this year. They are not only looking like leading privateers on the day, but winning the Privateers Cup for 1998, and that's very well deserved.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? These guys have been partners, driving partners and business partners for a lot of years. They've been in V8 racing for many years, and they thoroughly deserve it. And Trevor's on his way home. Here's an earlier incident. Oh, Danny Osborne in the colour scan car. Let's hope he keeps that off the wall. No, he doesn't. Crunch. Big time.
That's a tyre wall, so hopefully the damage will be minimal. Michael Donohue's sneaking through there on the Ultratune machine, but here's the leader. This is the pointy end of the field, and it's looked like this all day. The new VT Commodore, the General's new weapon, lead its battle in V8 Supercar toward the next millennium. It's really making a mess of the Fords. And this championship battle absolutely walked away with it. And this man, Russell Ingall, has really struggled all day to maintain the pace.
Garth Tanner's giving him a nice working over too for that 7th spot. Russell probably at this stage today is saying, go away, leave me alone. I've had a tough enough day as it is, but he's been pretty philosophical. I was talking to him before the meeting, and he said, look, if I don't win it this year, I'm going to win it. I'm going to get it eventually. So
well, it gets so close, that's the thing.
Up the inside, a real challenge here for Tander. Going to look down the inside. He's got him this time. Oh! Contact too. And let's see if he...
Settle down, boys.
Oh, you don't want to fiddle with Russell. Russell wouldn't be in a great mood at the moment.
Oh, look at the amount of biffo going on here. Elbow to elbow. Russell is not going to give in. He's not going to get the short back and sides from this youngster.
Well, maybe he has this time round. One more lap to go. We're on our way home. So maybe Russell's going to finish it with some fireworks. Now Tanner's going to have to watch out. We're on our way home. Gee, Tanner's driven very forcefully today. Driven sensibly, but he has really shown us what he can do in a V8 supercar. And Russell's been pushed back to 8th position. Garth Tander taking that spot off him now. I think there's enough of a gap there for Tander to get home comfortably. There's Glenn Seaton on the infield. Wow, that's a disappointing end of the day because he was going so well. He was up in the top 3. So Barguana now takes 3rd. Romano has got 4th. There has been a tremendous crowd here today, and they've seen this guy just completely dominate. Pole position, 3 starts, 3 wins. The kid is the champ. Craig Lowndes comes across the line. There's the team and his wife, Natalie, and he thoroughly deserves it. Well done. It did come down to the wire at the start of the day, but by the end of the day, he did it comfortably. There's his teammate, Mark Scafe, congratulating him. Well done, Craig Lowndes. A tremendous win. And it didn't go all his way this year. He hasn't led the championship the whole way. He had to fight back. Russell Ingall made him work extremely hard for it, and he's done it. Craig Lowndes, he's only raced in the Shell V8 Supercar Championship 2 years, and in both years, he has been the champion. What an achievement.
Oh, it's sensational for him, you know, as I was saying earlier, to come back from a terrible year in Europe. And absolutely, this has really endorsed the fact that the first year, even though he was in a good car, he could have done it in a car that wasn't quite so good.
Well, he's shown that he can do it not only in the older VS, but the new VT. So that's 2 weekends in a row, 2 rounds in a row. The new VT has won. So whether that's a sign for the Enduros coming up, look out as we check the final placings on your Shell Helix race score. Lowndes and Scafe again. That's the 3rd 1-2 in a row. Barguana, a great effort by Paul Romano for 4th, and Tony Longhurst rounding out the top 5. Tander, Ingall, Perkins, Bow and Larkham. That's your top 10. We'll be back on the other side of this break to wrap things up for 1998 in the Shell Series.
Well, the V8 Supercar Championship came to Sydney's Oran Park Raceway, a great grand final, and as always, the Sydney fans turned out in huge numbers. Give yourselves a slap on the back, Sydney, you've done us proud. Fantastic atmosphere at Oran Park today, and what a great race meeting we've seen too. Let's firstly congratulate the privateers. I tell you what, these guys have done a great job. Not only overall winners today, but overall winners of the Privateers Cup for 1998. Put your hands together for Trevor Ashby. Now, I should say here, Steve hasn't been able to join us on the podium, but it is a joint effort. It's a team's cup, so it's you and Steve have done an equally good job. Well done.
Oh, it's a totally team effort, and thanks, Steve. He's down there somewhere, but yeah, he's had some wins out there, so it's got us here today.
It's been a tough year for you, hasn't it? I remember that Lakeside crash you had at Lakeside was a shocker, but you managed to bounce back from a lot of adversity. Oh
yeah, we've been scraped off the fence a couple of times this year, some quite nasty ones, and thanks to our Lansvale Smash and Auto Colour, we're back out there every time.
Well, congratulations, deserving winners. Put your hands together, folks. Steve Reed and Trevor Ashby. And in third place today, I'm sure you'll be just as enthusiastic, because this guy has really been struggling for a number of years. He's finally got the right tyres on the car, and he's proving he's never lost his competitiveness. Put your hands together for Tony Longhurst. I was trying to think what it was like, 4 years of virtually bashing your head against a brick wall. It's all been worth it.
Yeah, it has. Look, you know, we've got a good package now. Dunlop, they've given us some gun tyres, and the results up at Darwin and this weekend have shown that.
Now we've got the endurance races ahead. Your car always seems to come good toward the end of the season, but this year, you know, very much so. It seems to be much stronger than it was last year.
We'll try to give them a shake-up. You know, Bathurst is very important to me, and I've got a good co-drive we're going to announce next week, and I'm looking forward to the long-distance races. Fantastic.
Congratulations, Tony Longhurst and the Castrol Ford. Second place today, yeah. He's had a pretty tough year too, but it's all come together for him at Oran Park. Put your hands together for Mark Scafe. We were talking in the commentary there, we thought maybe you'd inherited the Greg Murphy hex this year. You've had about as much bad luck as Greg, but it's finally come together at the end of the year, and let's hope it continues for the Enduros.
Well, certainly, I mean, the team have done a great job. We've just had some bad luck, and I've made some pretty ordinary starts, Mark. That's been the story of the year. And, I mean, basically, again, for the competitiveness today to be so good, and congratulations to Craig. He's done a fantastic job all year. He's been really consistent and thoroughly deserves it. So, to Craig and the guys, well done, fellas.
And you played a great rear gunner role there. You were sitting in behind Craig, half a second to a second behind, just making sure no one was going to attack.
No, our car was pretty good today. So, I think, you know, both the cars were really, I mean, they're really consistent. And the guys in the team have done a fantastic job to have it like that. Obviously, the Bridgestone tyre hung in fantastically.
Congratulations on a great effort today. Right, the big moment. I call on Ross Brody from Shell, sponsor of this great series, to make the presentation to not only our overall winner today, but the 1998 Shell Australian Touring Car Champion, Craig Lowndes. What can we say? You've done it again. 2 out of 3 years, that's a pretty outstanding effort, and your winning ratio, superb.
Thanks, Mark. I guess I couldn't do it without the guys. I'd like to thank them all. It's just, it's been a hard year, especially, I guess, after last year, myself being overseas last year, but I'd like to thank Robbie Starr, Matty Crawford and Pete Jr. especially, and now the guys who work all year on my car, and I'd like to thank Mobile, Holden and Bridgestone. Obviously, the tyre package today is obviously fantastic with our car, and I also like to thank my wife for putting up with me for all year.
Well done, Natalie. Yeah, but looking at your performance this year, I think you'd agree you had a much bigger advantage in 1996 technically than you had this year. I think this one is even more impressive.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a hard year, obviously, as Mark said. Obviously, the starts are very important, and the competition's so deep this year.
Congratulations, Craig Lowndes, and give him a big cheer, Sydney. 1998 Shell Australian Touring Car Champion.